right? The techniques used in the short story. The techniques used in the short story, The Nightingale and the Rose. And the Rose. Now it's too late, get me. Right. Nightingale and the Rose. Number one, the third person point of view. The third person point of view. Write down. Write down. The story of the Nightingale and the Rose. The story of the Nightingale and the Rose is narrated by Narrated, narrated by the writer. Narrated by the writer. Second technique, use of poetic language. Use of a poetic language. Write down. Oscar Wilde writes the story using poetic techniques like the similes. Poetic techniques like the simile, Verb inversion, verb, verb inversion, inversion, verb inversion, personification, personification, as well as metaphors. As well as metaphors. Please quote these words. Pale was at first to show the poetic language. Some quotation. Pale was it at first as the mist that hangs over the river, pale as the feet of the morning, and silver as the wings of the dawn, as the shadow of a rose in a mirror of silver, as the shadow of a rose in a water pool. Quote it. Third technique, use of realistic and unrealistic characters. Use of realistic and unrealistic characters. Use of realistic and unrealistic characters. Okay, write down. The writer employs, employs, use, employs means use. The writer employs both realistic and unrealistic characters in the short story. Realistic and unrealistic characters in the short story. The two realistic human characters are the young student and the professor's daughter. Full stop. The unrealistic characters are the personified are the personified are the personified animals and other natural objects. Full stop. The character of the nightingale is the most unrealistic character of the short story. Unrealistic character of the short story. Iron. Next technique, iron. Write down. Irony is a common technique Irony is a common technique used Irony is a common technique used by the writers in their stories. In their stories to amuse, A-M-U-S-E, amuse the readers. It is a technique. It is a technique which shows some unexpected event or saying. Some unexpected event or saying. The ironic events. The ironic events of the short story. The ironic events of the short story are as follows. Are as follows. Number one, the nightingale the nightingale the nightingale sacrifices her life for a red rose, expecting the young student to be a true lover, but it never happens. Second one, the young student expects the professor's daughter to accompany to accompany him to the ballroom dancing but the girl rejects both the student and the red rose. Third ironic situation. Third ironic situation. The professor's daughter never expects a red rose. Never expects a red rose from the student during winter, but he comes to her with the unexpected red rose. He comes to her with the unexpected red rose. Fifth technique. A well-knit, knit means made, a well-knit plot. Write down, a well-knit plot. Write down. Plot means MEANS. Plot means the logical arrangement, ARRANGEMENT, arrangement of events of a short story helping the readers to understand helping the readers to understand the story without any difficulty. The story without any difficulty. The short story has a beginning, a middle and and a clear end, a clear end. All events, all events, all events, flows, FLOWS, flows in chronological, chronological order. Chronological means without any deviation, changing, turning, straightly, direct, chronological, direct order, chronological order. As the clock turns, chronological order, a well-knit plot. Sixth one, use of a simple and easy language. Use of a simple and easy language. Easy language. Use of a simple and easy language. Write down. The writer uses a language used in everyday speech. Used in everyday speech. Far from, far from, far from. Heavy, Heavy, heavy. Heavy verbosity. Verbosity means too many difficult words. Heavy verbosity that are difficult to understand. Far from heavy verbosity that are difficult to understand. Next technique, flashback and flash forward. Flashback and flash forward. Write down. Flashback means telling the readers about past events. Past events. The short story begins with a flashback. About the professor's daughter's promise to the young student. About the professor's daughter's promise to the young student. Got this? This is a flashback. Something happened in the past. අතීත වූ සිදුවීම. That is flashback. Right? Go on, write in. Flash forward. Is the reference. Flash forward is the reference to a future event. To a future event. To a future event. It is the opposite of flashback. It is the opposite of flashback. Got this? This is the example. The musicians will sit in the gallery, said the young student, and play upon their string instruments. And my love will dance to the sound of the harp and the violin. This is flash forward. The writer creates some future events. අනාගතයේ මේවා සිදුවේවි යයි කියලා එයා අපිට කියනවා. ඒවා flash forwards. අතීතයේ සිදුවීම් flashbacks. ඔය දෙකම ඕනේ අපිට ස්ටෝරි එක දැනගන්න. plot එකට. Flashbacks and flash forward. Right? In the novel, in the short stories, in the dramas, whatever the writers write, they use techniques, right? Now, I think it's quite enough for you to know the techniques for the short story. You can find out, check these techniques in the other short story we did, The Lumber Room. Check whether you can find these techniques, right? These are some common techniques used in the short stories.